Hi, everybody. Angel here, and I hope you're doing great. And today I am super excited to speak with Kimberly, and we'll get started very soon. Thanks for joining. And we're going to be talking about Kimberly's plant-based vegan journey, any challenges she experienced, any changes she saw along the way. We'll talk about why she chose the name Did You Bring the Hummus? We will get into her podcasting mission and some of the guests that she's had along the way as well. And we'll talk about her vegan and wellness offerings, as well as any other projects that she has going on either now or coming up. So we will get started very soon. And please put your questions or comments down below. We'll be happy to answer. Also, if you miss any of my previous live conversations, you can check out the links on my Instagram bio, and you will actually, hi there, on my Instagram page, you'll actually be able to see the other live conversations that I've had with guests from all over the world. So I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, either live or on the replay. Also, you can check out the link in my bio. I have a few links in there, so you can check those out and see what I have going on my website, as well as over on YouTube and some other. In now, and we'll get started very soon. So thanks so much for joining. Hi there.
Hi, so sorry.
No worries. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thanks so much for taking the time.
Sure. I'm so happy to be here. I had my phone set up in like a tripod, and just as I hit to join, it fell off.
Ooh, yikes.
So I apologize if this camera is like right in my face.
Don't worry about it.
I'm going to hold the phone.
My camera's always right in my face. Join the club. So Kimberly, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and chat with us today. I want to say hi to everybody who's joining, either live or on the replay. And Kimberly and I met over on the Vegan Business Tribe, shall we say, meetup scene. And we have participated in several live events together online. And I had the pleasure of being a guest on Kimberly's podcast, which she can tell you more about as we get into our Q&A here. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Please put your questions and comments down below for Kimberly, and she will answer them as we go along. But meanwhile, Kimberly, we have a lot to cover, so if you're okay, I would just love to jump in and get started.
Let's do it.
Awesome. So I would first love for you to please share with us how you started your plant-based journey and how you ended up to where you are today, please.
Sure, yeah. So I think like probably a lot of us, there were seeds being planted from the time I was a child. I remember there was a magazine, and I know that I read like a couple of like comics that were magazine like Strawberry Shortcake and stuff when I was a kid. So I still have no idea why this magazine showed up, but I remember pulling out an ad. It was for an animal rights group. I can't remember which one, but it was a picture of a calf, and it said in huge letters above this calf in a box, he has only 3 feet. And I read that, and I was probably 10 at the time. And I remember it talking about how this calf was being raised for veal. So I have never eaten veal in my whole life, even though I was a meat eater for a very long time. because of this ad. And I hung it up on the back of my door. And I remember looking at it every single day. And then we moved out of that house a couple of years later, and I don't know what happened to it, but I didn't need it anymore because I can still see it in my mind now.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 2001 when another magazine shows up. So weird. I check the mail in July of 2001, and there is an issue of PETA's Animal Times, and it is addressed to me. But I have zero recollection of filling out anything for PETA, answering any kind of, whatever. And, I wasn't on the internet the way we're on the internet now. So that definitely wasn't where it came from. But I read this magazine cover to cover, and I was up sick for the rest of the night because the last meat meal that I had was a Whopper from Burger King. And I remember thinking about what I had just consumed, and not even just that meal, but every meal before that, because I was not a vegetable eater. So if we were having burgers, that was it. I was having a cheeseburger on a bun with some ketchup. There wasn't even lettuce on it. And I had no idea how to cook. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew for sure that I wasn't going to eat animal flesh anymore. And I was a vegetarian. I had let go of everything except for cheese, and we can get to that in a sec. But I had to learn how to cook. I had to learn how to eat because, like I said, I wasn't eating anything but meat, really. The occasional spear or two of broccoli. And I had no idea how to cook. So I did a lot of learning at the beginning, a lot of reading, and I ate a lot of pasta covered in cheese because at least I knew how to boil water. Then from there, as I learned, I knew, and like I was lucky. I was young enough. I was living at home. I didn't have a lot of bills, so I was able to replace everything. I gave away all of my leather shoes, any purses I had. Once I finished any products that I had, I was able to replace them with vegan and cruelty products. So really the only thing that stopped me from calling myself vegan was the fact that I didn't stop eating cheese.
Yeah.
And I didn't know then how addictive cheese is. And
oh, oh, we could talk all day about that.
We could. Oh. And you know what's interesting? I didn't eat a lot of cheese beforehand. Like occasionally cheese and crackers. It was like a special thing. I didn't put cheese on my sandwiches except for cheeseburgers, but I used to eat a lot of turkey sandwiches, never put cheese on them. But as soon as I took the animal flesh out, cheese became so easy. And then you too, huh?
That happened to me too.
We become like a cheesetarian, right?
Yes, because then everyone for me anyway, everyone was asking me, well, where are you getting your protein? Mm-hmm. So as long as I told them I was eating some type of dairy, right, they would be quiet. Mm-hmm. Or if I told them, I had an egg, or they would shush. Yeah. But they always wanted to know basically, well, where are you getting your protein?
Yeah. And now we know to ask them, well, where are you getting your fiber?
Oh, they have no clue.
I know.
A lot of them anyway.
Yeah. And another interesting thing is that I had, and this is maybe TMI, but I think it'll be really helpful for people who were in my situation. I had terrible IBS to the point where anytime I was out, if I ate anything, especially vegetables, if I decided to go crazy and have a salad, I was sick immediately. And I was always checking where are the bathrooms, make sure I knew. And oh gosh, going into the office every day, I'd have to try to time it where I thought the bathrooms would be empty. And I'd sometimes sit at my desk keeled over in pain because my stomach hurt so much. And if I had just known, well, stop eating cheese and your stomach will stop feeling like that. Yeah. I would have done it a long time ago. Yeah. But I was dating, I was young, I was in my 20s, and I was trying to figure out, who am I? What am I doing with my life? Who do I want to be with? And I can't tell you how many people were like, I'm not interested in this because it's too hard. I want to be able to share my pork chops with you. We can't date if I can't share my pork chops with you. What are you talking about? So I held on to the cheese a lot longer than I would have liked to. But I've been vegan now. I finally was just like, that's enough. Like, who are you? Like, you are totally out of alignment with your values. Dairy is so cruel. And in like 2015, I went vegan, and here we are. It's forever.
Yeah. But and thank you so much for being so honest, because cheese is a big struggle. And for some of us, we, for example, are labeled like lactose intolerant, like myself.
Mm-hmm.
I call myself lactose intolerant, although I've come to believe that humans are just not supposed to consume,
Yeah.
basically any kind of source from another animal. So that's just my personal shall we say conclusion after all these decades. However, also, at least for me, it was either out of convenience that I was still consuming cheese when I was a vegetarian pescatarian for over 20 years before I became vegan. And so for me, it was either convenience or it was to please somebody. And I distinctly recall being somewhere, and because they knew I wasn't eating flesh, they would, basically try to have something, that was, they thought I could eat. And even though I was really trying to like not eat it, and I was not even in the whole vegan space at all, that hadn't even come into my world yet. And but I remember this particular instance, and I actually ate the item, the meal with the cheese on it, although I didn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of it is like to please other people, who may, feel a little bit bothered by, you refusing because they kind of made an effort, and that's all they knew, that's all I knew. So
Mm-hmm.
it is really challenging sometimes. And so I would love for you to please share with us, some of the changes you experience, and then some of the challenges.
Yeah. Well, the biggest and best, and I'm just gonna, my arms are starting to go dead, so I'm gonna try to
Of course,
set up my
of
my
course.
phone, so I'll try not to make you guys seasick
No
while I do.
worries.
All right. Will that work? How's that?
Good.
Let's see how this goes. Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Good. So the biggest change was that my stomach doesn't hurt all the time now. I don't have to worry about, is there a bathroom nearby and will I make it on time? But the best thing is that I feel so at peace. I've always loved animals. And, so many people say that, right? But I always felt like something's not right, but I didn't know that it was what I was eating. There was just always this feeling and that something else in my life could be different or better. And once I went vegetarian, that felt better. But I knew about dairy. And the more I learned about dairy, the harder it was. But we also have this thing called cognitive dissonance, right? Where even when we really care, in those moments, we can separate. And so I had moments like that where I didn't want to keep eating cheese, but I did keep eating cheese. And then I finally was like, that's enough. And when I went vegan, just such a weight has been lifted. And life just is more beautiful. It's seriously the most beautiful, powerful choice we can make. And every day I'm so grateful for it. Every single day.
That's beautiful. I love that, because it's like you're feeling in alignment. You used the word alignment a while ago, and it's really like you finally stepped into alignment and stepped into your true self. And I just love that. And you're getting hearts here.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for joining. Please put your questions and comments down below for Kimberly, and she'll be happy to answer. And so you have alluded to some of the challenges along the way. Are there any other challenges that you want to share with us at this time about, your journey?
I guess the other challenge really was learning how to cook.
Yeah.
And so coming from someone who, like I said, could barely boil water, for anyone else who feels like that, I can't go vegan, I don't know how to cook, I don't know what I'm doing. Me neither. I didn't know either. And now I make amazing food.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I can feed non-vegans and they are so happy to have the food. And I am so happy and full, and just, I mean, just before I got on here, I made, quick shout out to Nisha Malvani of Cooking for Peanuts.
Oh,
I
yeah.
made her black bean and corn burgers, and it is seriously the best veggie burger I've ever made. Yeah.
That sounds yummy. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
oh, so flavorful. And it's just easy to make. And that's the other thing. Like, vegan food, one, doesn't have to be expensive, and it does not have to be hard. I don't always have time to spend hours in the kitchen. I want to batch cook and have things ready. Sometimes it just doesn't work out like that. But there's so many options and so many things we can do without buying tons of processed food, without relying on that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if we're worried about our budget, or we're trying to eat more whole foods, there are plenty of ways for us to incorporate that without it taking up all of our time. So for anyone who feels challenged, trust me, you can learn. Come ask me questions. I am happy to connect. I used to think I hated cooking. I used to only enjoy baking, and now I love them both. Such a beautiful creative outlet, and I feel so nourished, like in my soul and in my body, making this incredible vegan food.
Wow. I think that's also awesome because a lot of people really don't like to cook, or don't know how to cook, or don't feel confident cooking. And you basically conquered all of that, and you just said, I'm gonna figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really, really love that, because I remember, I told this story before, but a famous vegan in Spain, he has a friend who's basically, I guess, like a professional athlete. And when they were traveling together, his friend was eating plant foods, but when they weren't traveling together, his friend was not eating plant foods. And he asked his friend during an interview here on Instagram some time ago, basically, well, why? What happened? Why aren't you, still eating plant-based? And his friend said, recipes. I need recipes. And I thought, wow, like, people are really, really, sometimes at a loss for recipes,
Yeah.
because, for some people, it's just not that straightforward. So I really appreciate you sharing, how you really, decided to, just turn it around anyway, like, just find a way to do it.
Yeah. Well, having that why that's bigger than me was really what helped, because I've been like, oh, I'm gonna eat better, like, all throughout my life, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna eat better, and then you do it for a little while and it's like, it's too hard, like, I just want to hang out with my friends, I'm gonna go eat whatever, and I don't want to have to deal with, like, eating diet food or whatever, because it was
Or
just
rabbit
about
food.
me. Yeah, it was
Rabbit
just
food is
about
what they
me.
call it too,
Right.
as well.
So when I thought about, well, I'm not doing this just for me, I'm doing it because of the cruelty, I'm doing it because I don't believe that anyone should suffer so that I can eat, and we don't live in a vegan world, so I know that there's still going to be animal suffering even though I'm vegan. But knowing that I'm not a significant part of that system, not every day contributing to it, that kept me going.
Yeah.
Because it was so meaningful. When I think about the animals, I put myself in their place, try to, have empathy for what they're going through, the level of torture, and how sad their lives are when they have an interest just like we do, to feel the sun on our faces, on their faces, and to run and jump and play and have relationships. And just because they don't use the same types of languages and sounds that we do doesn't mean they're not able to experience emotions that are meaningful to them. And that's such a thing for me, because so many humans are like, well, they're beneath us, they're less than us, they're not like us, they can't speak our language, you don't know that they have feelings. But we do, because we can see it. And these are the same people who will look at a dog who lives in their home and look at how happy my dog is with this new toy I just got for them. but they can't see that when a cow is able to run through a pasture knowing that he or she's free and they can like kick and run and chase a ball, that they're having the same exact experience and feeling that your dog is.
It's true.
And so that,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, that's what keeps me going. That's what just made it so that I learned how to cook and made it so that I could be vegan and show up in the world in this way.
I really applaud you. And I love how you make it so clear that you are vegan for the animals. And also, once I started to watch documentaries and also to observe the animals in the animal sanctuaries on social media, that is also what stuck in my mind. And it was like, well, no, Angel, not because it's inconvenient or because I may not, get a full, variety of foods when I go out. That's not a good enough reason to still eat I don't know, an item that has, animal content in it. So really for me as well, it really is for the animals. And that's why I really, really appreciate you being very, very open that you are vegan for the animals. And I want to add here, hashtag the future is vegan.
Yeah.
And we have a very, very poignant and powerful comment in here. Well, several, but I really want to zoom in on Corriendo Feliz, who says, I don't even love animals, but don't eat them because it's not right. Mm-hmm. I want to applaud you there, Corriendo Feliz, because, along my vegan journey, I have met people who say they don't really connect with animals. However, they are vegan. And some of them say they're vegan for, the planet, the environment, Mother Earth. And at first it was shocking to me, to be honest, to hear people say that they don't have a connection to animals, because from a young age, I have had a super strong connection to animals. However, I have learned to, appreciate and accept and understand that some people just don't feel that way. Yeah. Yet, they do make the connection like this person did to say, well, it's still wrong. It's still not right to, consume them and use them. So I really want to applaud this person. Yeah. You also have a comment there, yes, and you are reaching others with your message and help to thank you, and you too, Angel, for everything you do. Thank you. And then also saying here, Vegan Knowledge JJ, I feel like I started for other reasons and it evolved to my why when I realized and made the connection. And I agree with this comment as well, because for myself, I first started on this journey, for health reasons. And then along my journey, I discovered, oh my gosh, no, it's a full lifestyle. This is for the animals. This is not just for my personal diet. Mm-hmm. So these are really, really powerful statements here. And so that brings us to my next question. Why did you decide to use the name Did You Bring the Hummus? And we have a comment here saying that from Vegan Knowledge JJ, I love the name Did You Bring the Hummus? And that's one of my questions. So how did you come up with that name, Kimberly? Did you bring the hummus?
Well, first, thank you, Vegan Knowledge JJ. I appreciate that. I came up with that name because of a meme that maybe you've seen it. It's dinosaurs that are going at, they're obviously having a meal, like 3 of them are at the table, and they're like T-Rexes, and there's a brontosaurus like at the forefront, and he's walking in, and he says, I brought hummus, and the other 3 go, who invited the vegetarian? And I just thought, yes, like hummus is a food that many of us would not think was weird if we were coming from the meat eater side. Like, oh, that's a common food, like especially nowadays, right?
Yeah.
And hummus is everywhere, and so they wouldn't even question the hummus. And hummus is, it's filling, it's super tasty. We can dip all kinds of stuff in it. They put out the vegetable platter for us and think we're going to eat that dry. If you bring the hummus, then you don't have to, because they're going to have that nasty ranch dressing in the center. So you bring the hummus, and now you've got something to eat.
I love that. And I'm going to add on top of what you said, which is so cute, but I want to add to, like, because of the, bean or lentil component, for example, It's known to be high in protein, in clean protein, in high quality protein, without the cholesterol, without the saturated fat, without the hormones and all of the drugs that they put into the animals. So, I want to applaud you for that. And I personally have really leaned into hummus and gatherings, especially when I was vegetarian, pescatarian. So I just love that you picked up on that, and then of course, you kind of tweaked it for yourself.
Yeah.
But I love that.
Thank you.
And so your platform is called Did You Bring the Hummus? Now, I would love for you to share with us, please, how you became interested in podcasting.
Sure. I didn't know I was going to be interested in podcasting. It was a Toastmasters project that I almost didn't do because I thought, I don't even listen to podcasts. Why would I do a podcast? And then I looked at the requirements, which included 60 minutes of content that you had to put up on a platform where strangers would see it or hear it. And I thought, oh, I don't know about this, but if I'm going to do it, and then I had to also present a speech that was 5 to 7 minutes with some of the content from that 60 minutes. But I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I better talk about something for 60 minutes that I really care about. And so I decided that it would be about veganism. And so from that podcast, and the first few episodes, the first episode I think is 10 minutes long. It's just who I am and why I'm doing it. And then there's the first few episodes are just me. My husband joins me for one. And then at the start of 2021 is when I started. So the podcast started in September of 2020. And then in January of 2021, I started interviewing people who weren't my husband. And so I did that for, the last 2 years. And then this year, from January through last week, there's been a new episode every week. Most of them are interviews because I really love giving other people a platform and for vegans to be able to share their story so that they can inspire someone else. Most of my listeners are not vegan, which is awesome because it means I'm reaching the people I'm trying to reach anyway. Because the mission of the Did You Bring the Hummus podcast is to inspire people to go vegan through powerful stories and meaningful conversation. So we always talk about the vegan journey. We end talking about hummus, of course. And then in the middle, we talk about whatever is important to the guest, animal rights causes or issues, their business. And it's just, we have a lot of fun with it. And it's just, I love it because I really am a performer at heart, and having the podcast allows me to use my voice in a different way. It's my form of activism to spread the word about veganism, which is also why I'm so happy that you're doing this, because you too are sharing your voice and allowing others a platform to share theirs, to spread the vegan message, because people really need to see that it's normal. We are normal. It's okay. We can do this, and we can really make the world a better, safer place if we start embracing, our vegan values.
I love that. Now, what is really, interesting to me, and I find this, for example, on YouTube for sure. You're saying with your podcast, most of your listeners are not vegan, and I find that really interesting and curious. And I am just trying to figure out how they even find you if they're not searching for something that's vegan. Is it, I guess it's curiosity. I just find that fascinating and awesome at the same time.
Thank you. Well, I think that not having the word vegan in the title of the podcast helps me find non-vegans. People see hummus, it's under the food category, so they probably first tune in and think, well, they're going to hear about food. And then they hear my wonderful voice and they're, oh, she's so interesting, and this guest is so interesting. And that's how I'm imagining they tune in, and then they keep coming back.
I love that. You are giving me an idea, and probably everybody else an idea.
Do it. I love it. There's no competition here. My thought is that everyone goes vegan for a like inspired by something different. And someone who hears me might be like, I don't get it. And then they'll hear you, or they'll hear another vegan, or maybe they're one of those people who need somebody to put a video in their face and go, look at this, look at what you're contributing to. And when they finally see it, they make that connection. But then other people will hear me and they'll go, she's my gal. I get it. I sound like her. That's my life. And if she did it, I'm going to do it too. And so everyone who's inspired to start sharing their vegan stories and messages, get out there and do it.
No, I love that. And I really love that you took the angle of not putting the word vegan, because it is a bit scary for some people. It's a bit off-putting for some people. You know, there's this stigma attached to the name. There are these connotations and stereotypes that, you know, some people have in their minds about, you know, the word vegan. And so I really applaud you for, you know, not putting you know, the word vegan, although it's super important for both of us, evidently. Anyone who ever heard us speak for like 30 seconds would know that. However, I think it was a very, very, very smart move. So, you know, bravo to you for doing that. And can you please tell us, you know, about the frequency, more or less, of your podcast, where people can find it, and also maybe some of your you know, most popular high-level guests, because I know you've had some of them on there, and that might be, you know, something of interest to everyone who's watching.
Sure. So you can find Did You Bring the Hummus on my website, which is didyoubringthehummus.com. But you can also find it on all of the major platforms. I'm on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music Podcasts, and even like small ones. If you just Google Did You Bring the Hummus podcast, your favorite platform will show up. So that's where you can find it. I post episodes every week, except this week. Technical difficulties. I'm hoping to get the next episode up at some point this week, but usually it's every Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure that when you get into your, so that you get notified every time a new episode goes up. And if you love it, please go ahead and rate it and leave a review so that other people will know that it's amazing and that they should check it out as well.
Totally. Yeah, I'm following you. I'll just say it. I'm following over on the Apple podcast space. It's not that I'm giving any publicity to that particular company. I'm just telling you that's where I'm following you. So, and some of your kind of most popular guests, I know you've had like really, you know, high level people on your podcast show. If you wanted to just name maybe a couple of them, just to kind of give people an idea, that would be cool.
Yeah. So 2 episodes that are already up and you can check out are episodes with Chef Adam Sobel of Cinnamon Snail. So most vegans are probably familiar with him. Certainly people within the New York and New Jersey area for sure, because he had the Cinnamon Snail food truck, but he is kind of a global name in the vegan world now. He is so much fun and just so much heart and love behind his food, and all of his recipes are amazing. I've made tons of them. You can find some pictures of what I've made of his on my Instagram so you can get a feel. I also recently interviewed Toni Okamoto of Plant Based on a Budget, and she also was fantastic. So much fun. Lots of great tips for people who don't have time and don't want to spend a lot of money. Check out her 2 books and her website, her Instagram, and her podcast episode for sure. She got tons of information there. And excitedly, coming up, Angel will be a guest, so stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss Angel's episode. And Nisa Melvani of Cooking for Peanuts, she's coming up as well. And they're both really great episodes. I cannot wait for everyone to hear.
Well, first of all, I'm blown away that you're mentioning my name in the high level people, because that's not what I expected at all. I was thinking of, you know, the Tony and, you know, and the Cinnamon Scale. Like, no, like that's not what I thought you were going to say at all. But I really applaud you. First of all, for like not even being shy or timid to invite invite such a prominent, guests. And secondly, because they have so much experience in sharing the message in different ways. And, food is so important to all of us, and it's just great that you chose like those guests who have that that entry point into people's everyday life, and I just
Mm-hmm.
love that. Oh, we have a comment here from Rick Chad. That's a great episode. Well, cool, good to know. I have to check those out.
Yeah.
And and I know Tony was basically on like a book tour here on social
Mm-hmm.
media recently. I mean, I don't know, it was a few weeks ago, and she was coming on like every 30 minutes for a while there. I mean, I guess her calendar was pretty booked, and she's pretty efficient.
Yeah.
So that's quite impressive. So I'm glad you got her
Me
on as
too.
well.
Me too. Yeah. She's so open and honest, and it was just a really great conversation. And there's I've had so many amazing guests,
I know.
not just this season, but everyone I've interviewed. It's just so wonderful, the stories they have. And if you love fiction, I also interviewed author MC Ronan, who has a book coming out later this year, but she has the Liberation trilogy. And I love these books. Like, if you are someone who's like, I don't really understand why people go vegan, these books, you can get into the fiction. They're fast-paced stories, and they're amazing. And they really give you a look into what you're contributing to when you're consuming animals. And MC Rona is fantastic. She's an amazing, amazing person. And I love her. So check out that episode as well.
Thank you for mentioning that, because a lot of us do like to read, so that's good to know. And
Yeah.
and especially if we can relate to what's really going on, like kind of I guess between the lines, and I guess from her perspective, as a as a writer, as well as I guess as a vegan, and so you can really kind of understand better, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. So I understand that you also have some vegan and wellness offerings. Are there any of those offerings that you'd like to share with us at this time?
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you.
Sure.
So tomorrow night, actually, I have a healing circle coming up. So in addition to being fabulously vegan, I kind of have this spiritual angle to me in the last few years that I've really embraced it. But I'm a trained Usui and angelic Reiki practitioner, and I have created what I call the healing circle. It's an hour on Zoom, so as long as 8 p.m. in your time zone, 8 p.m. Eastern in your time zone works for you, you can join from anywhere in the world. And we start off with a grounding meditation, then we move into a cord cutting ceremony, then we do a little talk on either the new moon, or if we're around a holiday from the wheel of the year, we'll talk about that. And then we do a visualization, sometimes on letting go, sometimes on connecting to our higher selves. Then we end the session with some angelic Reiki to help you process everything that's come up. And it's a solid hour. It's beautiful. I love doing it. And people who have attended have had some real ahas and awakenings. Others fall asleep because, again, there's that safe space, and I'm always trying to create a safe space for people. Others just are so relaxed, or they find that they're starting to show up in their lives in a way that they really want to, instead of just automatically. And it's just fantastic. They're $22 a session, and I do them twice a month. And the next one is tomorrow night. And you can find the information on my website under Book Online on Did You Bring the Hummus? And I'd love to see some of you there if that interests you. I also thank you so much, Susan from CEC Health 18. Kimberly's so multi-talented. Oh, she's just so wonderful. I love her.
Yeah, I'm gonna read this comment because you're shy to read it. So CEC Health 18 says Kimberly is so multi-talented and has a wonderful heart with 2 green hearts and an exclamation point, and now you're getting red hearts coming out. All right. I love it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh,
I also have on Thursday coming up a free workshop, which is an intro to veganism. So that's at 7 p.m. Eastern. Also, you can find information on my website. where you can DM me on Instagram to sign up to get the Zoom link. It is free, but I don't want people just showing up and Zoom bombing us. So you have to be registered. But it's an intro to veganism. Why do we go vegan? How do we go vegan? And how to really start taking those little steps to make it part of our lives. And that will kick off kind of a workshop series where we'll talk about the energy of food. We'll talk about what kind of products, and you can do them one-off, or you'll be able to sign up for all the workshops if you want to kind of do a kind of a package thing. And so that information will be forthcoming after Thursday's free workshop.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm really
excited. I love that. And I love how some people fall asleep because, that reminds me of like being so relaxed, like when I'm meditating, for example. And if I, shall we say, decide to lie down and do a part of my meditation, well, there's no guarantee I'm going to actually be awake.
There have been a few
for the whole time. Sorry.
I've had to end the Zoom. There have been a few times where I had to end the Zoom because they just like conked out, and I would say their name like a few times. They'd be the last person on the call, and okay, they're probably asleep. So I'd end the Zoom, and then the next morning I'd get a message like, "Sorry, I fell asleep on you."
But that's good.
Yeah.
That means you're doing it right,
exactly.
Kimberly. Seriously.
Yeah. It's the greatest compliment, honestly. It is. You put me to sleep. I agree. Thank you so much.
I agree. So, what did you say?
I said, so when someone tells me you put me to sleep, my response is thank you so much.
I agree. We have a comment here from Diane Chadwick saying, I'm looking forward to the healing circle. It always makes me feel so grounded and relaxed. That's awesome.
Thank you, Diane.
That is fantastic. Now, are there any other future products, services, offerings, or anything that you may have coming up that you want to share at this time?
I do offer one-on-one distance Reiki sessions. Those also include crystal therapy, because I'm also a certified crystal therapy guide. And so they're longer. They're an hour of just Reiki. We spend probably like 10, 15 minutes checking in, setting up the crystals, having a talk about what all of that means. And then we move into the distance Reiki. And that's what I love so much about energy work, is that we don't have to be in the same space, because there's energy everywhere. And we connect, and you settle in, and you're like, I'd like to send this energy. And if the person accepts it, then it goes to them. And if it doesn't, I always set an intention that if they decide they don't want it, that it goes into the earth to be like sent out to everyone who does need it. And it's just, energy's everywhere. So why not let's harness it and use it for good, or work with it for good. Yeah.
That is so powerful. I'm gonna have to really ponder that. Seriously, like that is so deep. Like you have no idea how deep. At least you have no idea how deep it is for me, that you would say that. That is so beautiful, because like you said, it's like, let's say you give someone a gift and they don't appreciate it, or they don't need it, they don't want it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or vice versa, someone gives you a gift and you don't need it, you don't want it, you don't appreciate it, et cetera, et cetera. But at least, some people say it's the intention that is so powerful and important and beautiful. And I think what you have just given to me, and hopefully maybe to others as well, is you've really given me a gift that it's about the intention, and it's also because it can, that intention, that energy, that offering, that gift can also go beyond the person to whom it was destined, so to speak, or to whom it was given. And I think that's beautiful. I'm serious. Like I love that.
Thank you.
Seriously. Now, for those who would love to reach you, contact you for information, collaboration, questions, comments, etc., what are the best ways for people to do that?
Sure. So you can follow me at Did You Bring the Hummus on Instagram and Facebook. It's the same handle on both. You can, if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, the one rule I have is that you have to be vegan not plant-based, not exploring. All of my guests are vegan so that the non-vegans who are listening can really hear and experience. There's a form on my website. You just click on be a guest. It's like 4 questions, 5 questions, and you submit that, and then I'll be in touch. You can also send an email to didyoubringthehummus@gmail.com, and that will get you directly connected with me.
Fantastic. We have a comment here. People fall asleep there in theta, so they are really getting the healing. Oh, that's so beautiful. CEC Health 18. I love that. Now we're getting into beta, theta,
Susan is
alpha.
tuned in. Yeah.
So we're getting into all. Hey, you all are giving a master class here. Truly. Like, I'm serious. You're giving a master class. I love it. This is my jam, okay? So hey, I'm here for it. Bring it. Bring the hummus and bring all of this too.
I'm doing it.
I love it. And so before I ask you to wrap this up and put a bow on it for us, please, Kimberly, I want to thank you so very much for coming on to chat with us today. I want to thank everybody who came in, either live or on the replay. Thank you for your beautiful comments and your beautiful energy and sharing this beautiful space with us today. And yes, I would love to ask you, Kimberly, if you have any final thoughts for us to just kind of wrap this up and put a bow on it for us, please.
I just want to go back to a point I made earlier, that going vegan can be easy. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. And no matter what, if you want it, you can do it. And if you need help, I'm here. Angel's here. There are vegans everywhere who are ready to bring you into the fold.
I'm trying to resist shouting here and giving you a hooray. I love that. Thank you so much for saying that, because some people do think it's difficult. And I was just even watching a show the other day, and a woman was saying she's vegan, however she finds it difficult, and because there's animal content in so many places. And so I really want to thank you for that, because a lot of people do need support. They do need, holding hand. They need a community. That's the other thing too. Community is so important, and you offer that. I offer that. Many of us offer that. Yeah. And or if you want something more personalized, more customized, one-on-one, of course you would offer that. I would offer that, and others as well. So I really want to just thank you so much for saying that as a final thought, because sometimes it can sound a bit complicated for some people, and there's so many options. So thank you so much for that, Kimberly, and thanks for the entire conversation. Thanks for having me as a guest on your podcast.
Of course.
And I am going to save this to Instagram Live and my stories, and I will put it up on YouTube in a few days as well. And and then I will message you after.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Angel. I'm so glad I was able to join you tonight.
Thank you, Kimberly, and take good care.
You too.
Thank you. Take care, everybody. Take care, Kimberly. Bye-bye.
Bye.